the best time of the week. Time to listen to the Three Brothers. Forget your garlic and your leeks and listen to the Three Brothers. It's fat-free, sugar-free, dairy-free, soy-free, and free from gluten and priestcraft too. If you click this accidentally, stick around. You might learn a thing or two. Chuck on a shirt, tie and shorts, and crack yourself a brew without any further ado. We are coming at you. Three brothers, juxtapositions, and midnight ramblings for sure. Three brothers, don't forget you get what you pay for. Three brothers, so come on down, don't even worry about it anymore. Three brothers.
Hello, welcome, brothers and sisters. Welcome again to your favorite or least favorite Three Brothers. I'm
I just put
sure we are the
myself
least favorite.
with the
I'm
worst
sure we're the
part.
least favorite for someone. I'm sure we are. Welcome to this week's podcast. Great to have you here. Great to be here. Let's jump straight in and let me just play my little jingle that I like to play. Should have probably had this slightly more prepared, but that's fine. Here we go. I did have it.
How did we do from me to you? I wanna follow up.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, you know what? Also, if you've accidentally clicked this, stick around. You may learn a thing or two. I forgot to say that. I had to say it. Okay, so Mike is going to share the thingy. So for our follow-up, and here we go. So if you recall, our last week's commitment it was actually based off, and I just went and opened it because I wanted to remind myself exactly what it was. It was based off Elder Neil A.
Neil A?
Maxwell. Yes. I couldn't remember. I was like, what was it about? Yeah, Neil A. Maxwell. And the point was when he was sick, right? He said it was more important that we not shrink than to survive, right? So not shrinking is much more important than surviving. And so the commitment was resolved to not shrink. And so how did we do?
A lot of people went through a really rough week, I'll tell you that. Like there was a lot of people sharing on Discord and stuff. Like this was a bad week for a lot of people. So
And we're all going to have them, right? Like it's going to be 1 week it'll be you, 1 week it'll be me.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's how it goes. And so the
Don't you
important part is our reaction to it.
Yeah, and don't you tend to, like, speaking about me personally, I think it's such a wise counsel because don't you tend to go, we go into survival mode when things get hard? Like that is what
Yeah.
we do. It's just like, well, all right, survival mode kicks in. I'm gonna protect myself. I'm gonna protect my family. I'm just gonna do what's best for me. I mean, you know how many people have left our friendship and gone into exactly this, shrunk, where it's just like, well, I don't need any of this extra trouble. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna go to my family because I can tell my kids that I'm the Cookie Monster and they'll still love me and believe me. And I'm just gonna retreat to the four walls of my house because I'm the king of my castle. And adios, all you people out there and all your troubles. And it's like the first thing that we do is we just retreat, we shrink, we go into survival mode, and it's a good thing to remind ourselves that there are worse, as Ammon has repeatedly said over the Three Brothers' huge tenure, is that there's worse things than death, and it's sometimes it's hard to do that when you're in survival mode. Remember, there's worse things than death. Like surviving this isn't the biggest. It shouldn't be the number one thing on my mind right now. It's is don't shrink, don't be crushed into silent weakness, don't give up the most important fights. Yeah.
It's so interesting how much that is the opposite of what the world teaches. The world's just like the most important thing is that you survive. You do whatever it takes to get by and make you happy and all that sort of stuff. And everyone would be chanting that, yeah, 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 for something like that. So it's so funny to say something that's so opposed to that, which is like, hey, don't worry about surviving. I mean, we all want to survive. I get it. But there is something more important than surviving, and that is not shrinking. I love it. It was interesting this week as well, the timing of that, because this week we're going into the story of Gideon and his army. And just like as the snapshot to how that relates to this story, there was an army of 132,000 Midianites versus 35,000 of the Israelites. And the Lord's like, no, that's too many Israelites. If they win the battle against the Midianites, they're going to think it was them, and then they're going to forget me again, and they're not going to realize that it was by the hand of the Lord that they won the battle. So they cut that 32,000 down to 10,000. And then the Lord again was like, yep, 10,000, too many. They're going to think they did it. So then he cut that down again to 300. And can you imagine what it must have felt like on the eve of a battle, being 300 men versus an army of camel riding warriors, and there was 132,000 of them. Any sane, normal person would be absolutely scared out of their minds. But there's obviously something that they knew and believed within themselves that led them to stand tall and do what they had to do. And that was that as long as they stayed righteous and they're on the right hand side of God, that everything was going to be okay. Live, die, whatever it is. Just living is not the ultimate, for them. Like, how many people have gone into battle on behalf of God and died and been willing to die? Living wasn't the goal. It was staying on the right hand of God that was the goal, because this life is just a blip in time. And if we do the right thing here in this life, in this little blip in time, then you set yourself up for an eternity in the absolute best place you could possibly be. So with the people that you would want to be with the most for eternity. So anyway, not shrinking it's a great concept, and it's the most important thing. Stay strong, stay true, even beyond death, if it so be.
Amen to that. Just to add a little bit to that, I like the tag at the bottom of this image: stand tall, stay strong, keep moving forward. And then on the left, that little like whiteboard there: don't shrink back, step forward, be bold in faith, live with courage. And I'm thinking, like, it's not about surviving, it's about not shrinking, but it's also not even about not shrinking. It's like, what's the opposite of shrink? It's like
Expand,
enlarge,
move forward. Yeah.
expand, move forward, be better. Like, so it's not even like don't
Yeah,
shrink. It's
into the
actually
fray.
like a step
Yeah.
forward. Yeah, like that's probably even more so the point, And I gotta think that story is crazy, man. Like, the Lord's like, those are not good enough odds. I need it to be like insane, and he loves, and I love the Lord's way of thinking, and he loves just making these scenarios where it's just like you cannot deny that the Lord was with them, And imagine
And you,
I
yeah,
was just gonna say,
you
imagine
go
how
first.
many people, 300 people have to fight 130,000. How many guys one guy has to kill in the battle?
400. I worked out the odds. It was 400 and something to 1.
That's just crazy. He's sitting there,
Which
each
means
guy just,
which
oh
means
man,
each man would have to kill more than is in his entire army per man.
it's so funny. That's just so crazy. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
the faith needed when you look at that, and the Lord really put on them. And so it's a really good lesson. The faith that those guys had to show to even go through with that,
The thing
Yeah.
that I liked about that story as well, it's highlighted so well in the book of Judges, because there's about 5 or 6 rounds of, and then the people forgot the Lord and began to worship Baal and the Egyptian gods. And then they started to lose favor with the Lord. And then the Midianites came and destroyed them. And then they repented, and the Lord heard their cries. And then he rescued them. And then the people began to worship Baal again. And then it's like 5 or 6 times they go through the circle. So the Lord's finally like, all right, This time we're going to do it differently. This time you guys are going to know that it was me, so you don't do this again. But anyway, what it reminds me of is how much we are like them. How often do we do that the same pride cycle? How often do we get to the position where we're, like Michael was just explaining, you get to the spot where you're like, oh, I'm good. I'm going to take care of me. I'm taking care of my family. I'm taking care of us. Everyone else can get stuffed. And you shrink, right? You shrink away into your little cave and you say, it's every man for himself. And it's quite literally what the Lord is saying we have to oppose. Like, that's the thing we can't be doing. So
Nice.
anyway, it's good.
And
Very good.
anything from this week of importance to mention? I don't have anything. There's nothing that happens in my life.
Yeah, I think that's good enough for me. Me, it's just the routine, to be honest. Just a whole lot of routine.
Yep. And nothing from you, Micah?
Nope. Still just dumb over here trying to not to shrink. I might be moving off into the woods, going pure hermit. So this was a good one. Don't shrink for me. Because I was, about pretty close to pulling the plug and going off grid and painting my face and
Yeah.
Rambo.
Ramboing and like, that's it, I'm out of here.
Mhm.
Yeah, so no, I'm alive. But that's okay. We found out that, Ammon's gonna be moving up here with me soon, so
Mhm. Mhm.
it worked out well.
Lakeside.
Yeah, Lakeside, so.
Jocelyn's got a lakeside place.
She does. She has two lakes, two little beautiful ponds.
Old Jocelyn Two Lakes. All right, ready?
We've got to rent. Yeah, we've got to rent. Oh, it's the rent of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We're going to rant. All right, time to rant. And our rant from the week comes from this very interesting comment that I saw pop up on a Tim Dillon video. It was Mr. Wonderful himself. Kevin O'Leary was talking to somebody on a podcast, and they were talking about wealth and money and this generation and how entitled these younger generations, how entitled they are and how they spend their money. And he basically said that anybody earning less than $70,000 a year would be absolutely crazy to spend $27 on lunch. And he was absolutely tearing shreds out of younger generations who might spend a bit more on their lunch. And I was like, man, this guy is so disconnected from how normal people live. $27 on lunch in Australia is a really normal lunch, like very standard. $27 in America, it's probably a pretty nice lunch because your dollar's worth more than ours. But I mean, you wouldn't say it's crazy. Maybe it's just a restaurant lunch, rather than fast food. Maybe it's just a standard restaurant lunch. Like a restaurant lunch for us would be more than double that, probably. So anyway, knowing that was a pretty outlandish thing to say, I figured I may as well back it up with some pure fact, because people don't realize straight off the bat, especially if they're in the younger generation, just how easy and how financially good the boomer generation had it back in their day. So if you can see here on this beautiful little diagram we have here, $70,000 today. So if you're earning $70,000, it has the same buying power in 1960 as somebody that earned about $20,700, which is a 238% increase. So that wage has increased by 238%. But the dollar just does not go as far anymore. The purchasing power of the dollar doesn't go anywhere near as far. So here's some examples. A nice restaurant lunch for one in 1960 would have cost $3.50. Today, let's say it was $27. the percentage, I actually can't see the percentage increase on that, Mike. I don't know if you can zoom out.
671.
671% is the increase, and that's the loss of buying power that we experience today. So if it was 230, I can't see it, but if it's 238%, then that would have meant that the value, the purchasing power has increased in comparison to wages. But because it's over 600%, that means it's more than 3 times more expensive than what it cost in 1960. Or in other words, it would have been way, 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 way cheaper for somebody to buy an equivalent lunch in 1960, to the point where we should be laughing at the boomer generation for how they spent their money, because they should have been able to stretch their money way further than us. And then of course I've got all these other examples, and I'll let you guys
Which
rant
are
on
all
those
crazy.
if you like.
They're all
They're
crazy.
all crazy. The housing one is the one that's
The housing one's insane. And just before we started recording, I looked at this and I said to Mike, I said, isn't it funny that the housing one is the worst? It's the one thing that we all need. And it's just the most basic necessity that we all need, a home. And it's the one they've stuck us all on hard, you know? Just look,
yeah.
3,000%. Like, are you kidding?
And it's the
Like-
one that I guess makes me the most angry, because
Yeah.
the boomer generation had the ability for decades of peace and prosperity to go and buy land and buy houses and be able to afford it even on almost nothing wages, because the buying power was so much better then. And in this day and age, if you want to crack that market, the people you're competing with are the boomers that have multiple houses, huge tracts of land, multiple houses. You know, if it wasn't for them, you know, stocking up on all this land and all these houses just to enrich themselves, it might be possible for younger people and the younger generation to get into the market. But like, and the reason why that hurts so much is because it's their generation who are pointing the finger at the younger generations and saying, it's not because we got it easy. We worked way harder than you guys. You guys are just lazy. And that's where this rant from Kevin O'Leary hits the nerve. Because again, he's being like, well, you younger generation, you could have houses and you could have this and you could have money, you could have whatever, but you spend $27 on lunch. What he doesn't realize is that when he was buying lunch, or other boomers were buying lunch in the 1960s, they were buying way more food at a fraction of the cost today. Their buying power was way, way better than ours. Plus, they could still buy a house. Plus, they could still buy everything else that they needed on a single income wage in the home. Single income earner in the home. And today,
like
everybody's
a bag
doing
boy at the
dual
supermarket
incomes.
could do it. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's just not comparable. Anytime you hear a boomer complaining about somebody spending money today, you literally should just laugh, because these are the numbers. They did not have to deal with what we deal with.
They also had the greatest generation as their parents, who were like literally handing them their businesses, literally handing them their homes as well. So like that, you know, like, and I mean, like literally handing them, being like, they didn't want to fleece their kids. They were just like, hey, yeah, like, take our home, you know, take our business. Like, this is what we have is yours. We want to build you up. And the boomers today, it's like, how do I put a reverse mortgage on this? How do I spend all this before I die? Yeah, it's completely the backwards. And you know, this is one of those conversations that Ashley and I had. I told Topher before we went live. We had a conversation about this before we moved, and we were just looking at places and just how like we looked at all this stuff. Oh, like cost of living. You could, you know, it's $10 cheaper to eat food, you know, over in this city versus this city. It's milk and cost of living, and it was like all this stuff that was a big deal, and it was like nothing came even remotely close to the cost of the home. Nothing. Like nothing came close to it, because it was just like, you know, if you had a home, let's say that you bought for $1.2 million, so let's just hypothetically use that number, and you could get the same home for $600,000 or a better home somewhere else for $600,000. That's a difference of $600,000. Even if your cost of living was $20,000 to $30,000 a year, better. Even if that was the case, which usually it's not that high, that's massive, it would still take you 20 to 40 years before you'd start seeing any sort of return on investment on that, before it would break even with just buying a cheaper house. Like buying the cheaper house will affects your entire life. You get into a cheaper home, it's like all of a sudden you're like, wow, I have a lot more money than I realized. It's just it's so much it changes everything. And we started realizing, like in Canada, we started realizing that even without the homes and all the stuff, we were paying $20,000 a year, just for the privilege of living in Canada. So that was just the privilege it is. So and you know,
Mm.
and you have to decide that, you know, how much do I love, you know, Montana? How much do I love Idaho? How much do I love Arizona? How much do I love Canada, Australia, England? Like
Utah.
Utah? How much do I love these places that I'm willing to pay a premium to live here? And on top of that, desire to build Zion. Because I'm also in the process of making this decision, I have less resources to help my brothers and sisters on everything, less time to spend, you know, helping other people and doing service, less money because time is money to spend, you know, helping people who are poor and so forth. Like when you make those decisions, you're determining how useful of a servant you're going to be in the Lord's hands.
Mm.
And just one other thing, while you've bought that other house, in those, you know, you did the math there, 30 years or whatever to make the difference. Your house has also gone up in value in that 30 years,
Correct.
probably by 3,000%. You know?
Yeah,
That's
there
it.
you go.
That's correct. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they'll be wealthy out of their minds, and they'll say to people, "It's just because we worked hard." And all it was is because the values over several decades have increased several times over, and just made them that way. They didn't make smart investments. It's just that the home they bought for a packet of raspberries and a handshake ended up being worth more than $1 million.
Yeah.
And just quickly, and just throw this in there because there's going to be boomers that listen to this and think that, you know, we're being really offensive or whatever. We're not trying to offend anyone. All we're doing is standing up for ourselves. We keep getting pointed at and looked down upon for being, you know, not clever enough with money, financially irresponsible, wasteful, not, you know, unable to make smart investments, all that sort of stuff, when we're already behind the 8 ball. Like we're stuck in a position where we're built to fail. And like when I came into my first earning years, the global financial crisis occurred. Like that's when I started my career, and I've been clawing it back through several generations, like several years now of financial issues, to get to the point where I am now. And the other thing I was going to mention is, if anyone thinks it's cheap of me to say this sort of stuff when I haven't been through what they've been through or stepped my feet in their shoes, of the 16 years that I've been married, I would say 13 of those years I've had a family friend, one of my friends, an in-law, a cousin, a direct family member, or similar, living in my home with me. So we have always shared our home with other people for almost our entire marriage, the whole time. And I know a lot of boomers that have 5-6 bedroom homes, and they would never have a single person ever allow them to stay in their home, or at least not longer than a couple of days. And we're trying to find another place with more room so we can have like a granny flat, so that when our children get a little bit older, they've got a place that they can live so that they can afford to live. You know, they can just live with us and they don't have to pay money because they can actually afford to live. You know, it's just, I know it's not going to be reasonable or possible in this current economic climate for them to go out and do that. And Toph sort of got the similar sort of thing, like a multi-generational style home thing going on with multiple families, and a similar concept. So before anyone thinks that it's cheap for us to say all this stuff and not back it up, whatever we can do, we're doing. Like our house is open for people. It always has been. It always will be.
I moved to a
Yes.
different country because of this. Like we're trying our best. You know, something else that this
Yeah.
chart doesn't actually include, which is another fun one, is the difference between buying out and eating at home. That's another thing that boomers don't understand. That like
Yeah.
eating at a nice restaurant, lunch for one, like that cost $3.50 back then if you went out, but it costs like 25 cents if you made it yourself, like the exact same food. But like today, it's like it'll cost you $27 to like buy out, but like $15 to make it yourself. Like the
Yeah.
same thing. And it's like, so you're like, in this case, you're saving like $10 in, which is like 50% or whatever. Whereas like back then, like they were saving like same thing, like 300%. Yeah, for just for eating at home. So like the other thing is that we're looking at it and we're like, okay, I can spend all this time and eat out, and it's going to cost me relatively not that much more, or I can save pennies and spend all this time and make something at home. And so like it's also a harder choice. Like back then it was like, well, we can save, like on one meal we could save $3, which is like 3,000%, and then we could pay for gasoline for the month. Like that's the like we eat out versus eating at home. That doesn't even pay for a smidgen of our gas for the week. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, so
Yeah,
doesn't make it
exactly.
Yeah,
And the other
24
thing,
cents
man,
for gas, man. That's crazy. I mean,
there's so many
Go on.
things that we could take up on this, and one of them, the reason why it hits a bit of a nerve is because he's specifically talking about one of the essentials of life. Like we're talking about food, like lunch. If he had said, you know, you millennials and Gen Z or whatever, you need to stop spending money on buying $600 PlayStation 2s or whatever, or PlayStation 5s, I could be like,
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
he's got a point. Like
Sure, fair
if
enough.
people are
Yeah, yeah.
spending, if people can't afford to put a bit of money away to invest, but they can always afford to spend $600 on a PlayStation or whatever it is, a gambling problem, I don't know. You could be like, yeah, fair enough. Like that's a bit silly. You're right. But if he's talking about eating lunch, like what you need to eat to live, then by all means, let's have a look at what you paid in 1960s. What was your lunch costing, and how much were you guys spending on it? Because I guarantee you guys ate lunch.
yeah,
So what?
they mock our avocado toast. What's funny about this? They mock our avocado toast, and I'm looking at this. My dad would drink between 5 to 7 gallons of milk a week. It's liquid
Jeez,
gold
gallons.
today. It's gallons.
Yeah. Gallons.
Gallons. It would be 5 to 7 gallons. Would go through a week. Yeah, it was like
We eat a
liquid
lot of
gold now.
eggs, and sometimes eggs are like gold. You know what I mean? Like we eat a lot of eggs in our family, and they've gone back to normal now. But for a while there, eggs were like you had to be rich to eat eggs. You know, it's crazy.
Why are you eating out? Just
Yeah.
stay home and eat some eggs.
Yeah, well, they cost $4 billion an egg. Like, what am I supposed to do here?
I remember when bananas
That's
were
worse.
$11 each.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's so
And
funny.
eggs are staple. Eggs are a staple. You know what I mean? Like it's a staple food. Bread, eggs, milk. You know, like those sorts of things. Like, that's a staple food. Like, and to Amin's point there, I'd also get it if you said something like coffee, which is like you could debate coffee's kind of like a luxury. You know,
Yeah, coffee or
people use it as
soda.
a treat. Yeah, yeah. And coffee. Look at the difference here. 2,268%. And I'm okay with that because well, not okay with it, but in different. It's a luxury item. It's an item that you can choose to not have. But food in general, I can't choose to not have. And a house, I can't choose to not have. You know what I mean? So there's different things here. But just a couple of things I wanted to add because I haven't had a chance to jump in really. I have 2 families living with me right now. We've done this for years, and in our new house, we're gonna have 2 families living there. That's like how much saving we're trying to do and how like fiscally responsible we're gonna be. So there's that. And I just wanted to point out as well, because we didn't really mention it, but I think it goes without saying here, or I kind of did mention it. All these things with inflation went up, and salaries never raised to match
Correct.
at all. Really, basically.
Never went with it. Stopped.
Just
dead.
never. Everything else went sky high, and salaries stayed. And it's like, what the heck? You know. So, again, what am I to do about that? You know. So anyway, and one other thing. When we sold our house, so here's a real world thing. When we sold our house, because the market here in Australia is crazy. I'm assuming it's probably crazy everywhere. When we sold our house, we had an open house thing with the real estate agent opened a house, and it took 1 hour. There was 100 people in front of our house ready to come through and look at it when we opened it. And our house was a 3-bedroom, like townhouse 2-story townhouse thing. Really nice, but like 3-bedroom, small, tiny. 150 square meters, the block. Tiny. You don't even understand. I don't know what that is in feet, but you guys don't understand how small this thing was. 100 people wait to look at it and offers straight away, well above what we were asking for. And just take a guess where the offer, like the most unbeatable offer came from.
Oh, was it
You know?
a young family with children?
Oh, you better
A
believe
young
it.
family, first home
You better
buyer.
believe it. No, exactly. So it was an old boomer couple, and they wanted just an extra house for their son. And guess what? They offered 100 grand over what we are asking for and paid cash. And I'm like, you guys are cooking everyone, man. And what am I to do? Am I going to not take that offer? Like, I'm not that good of a person. Do you know what I mean? Like, I need the money too. Like, I'm not that good, you know, and I'm not directly affecting anyone. So, of course, I'm going to take the best offer. Like, why would I not do that? But yeah, it was a boomer couple who literally, we just want an extra house for our son to have while he stays up in this area. It's like, oh, okay, sure. Good on you. You just ruined everyone else's chances here at living in a nice area with parks and stuff around, you know, people with kids there. They had no chance, you know, no shot. So don't talk to me about me wasting money on stuff. You guys are cooking it.
Yeah. Anywho,
That's
it's a good
crazy.
rant.
Yeah, it's a good rant. It's a topical rant. It's a timely rant.
Rant
But,
of
hey,
the week.
At least they built the tower.
Oh yeah, and then took a dump on it.
That's a real niche reference from the Three Brothers.
Of the week. Yeah, la, 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 yeah. Yay!
La la. Yay.
Aye. Arriba.
Liba. Yeah, we're culturally diverse here in the Three
You know,
Brothers.
what's funny? You know what's funny? I just looked at this image a second ago and just had a quick read through it. I'm like, this is almost a rant of the week. This one, if you want it, you know what I mean? Like this could almost be a rant of the week. Oh, it is a mini rant. There you go. You've written it there. Mini rant.
Well, that's what the person wrote. They wrote. So the comment of the week was their mini rant, and I thought, oh, let's do it. We can do this. So this is
Do you want me to read it? Or you
anonymous. Yeah, you can read it. It's anonymous.
All
We'll
right.
keep it anonymous, but yeah.
Okay. Is there a good reason we can't use actual cleaners to clean the church? A kid pukes on the carpet and we're using a spray bottle full of water and a drop of hand soap to clean it up. Nasty bathrooms thanks to 9 and 90-year-old guys. That's a good point. Let's clean that up with some water and a drop of blue food coloring. Huge mess of crumbs. This is good. Huge mess of crumbs. Let's get that up with a 50-year-old vacuum that's lost all suction and has brush bristles that don't exceed 1 millimeter. People coughing and wiping boogers everywhere. Just use this damp rag that's never been laundered. What is happening? Rant over. I know. When I read this, I was laughing, man. I was like, this is actually so good. It's actually so good. So I've got a question straight off the bat. Do you guys have? I'm sure Ammon does because my ward does. Do you guys have in your ward, Micah? Do you have a cleaning cupboard, and is it filled with good cleaning stuff? And do you guys have ward members that have a cleaning schedule? I'm curious if it's the same everywhere in the world, or if it's because that's what we do here. We have a ward cleaning schedule.
Yes. There's a
they
cleaning schedule. They have a closet that has stuff in there that's been in there since 1960. It seems like yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's what we have too. It's not as bad. I mean, this is exaggerating. Obviously, it's not as bad as this is exaggerated to be. They do use this one weird green product for everything, and it's like whatever you dilute it a certain amount makes it a different product. So if you dilute it a lot, it becomes just a disinfectant. If you dilute it less, it's like a glass cleaner. And if you dilute it like really less, you use it in toilets and floors and stuff like that. I don't know.
It's magic.
So the stronger It's for different things. It's a magic product, but it works okay. But I do think this is it's a great point here. So we had a church elders quorum activity about a month ago where we got the elders quorum together and we called it the Hour of Power. And did you guys ever have busy bees? Is that a thing like a church busy bee where you clean the chapel and clean the stuff? Is that sound familiar?
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, so I guess it's funny how Australia has these things that must be Australian. So we used to have busy bee, ward busy bee, and the whole ward would come and clean the chapel, like the outside, maybe the inside as well, whatever, because otherwise it wouldn't happen. And so the elders quorum got together for 1 hour, and that was a good hour, and we just smashed it. And we were pressure cleaning the outside and washing it and doing all sorts, getting rid of all the cobwebs, sweeping up the whole outside, doing all that. It was really, really good. But then we were talking about it, and it was like, whatever happened to church custodians? Because one of the guys I was talking to in the elders quorum, he said his dad growing up was full-time job church custodian, and he worked his actual
Yeah, they got
job.
rid of them.
Yeah, and I'm like, I vaguely recall that being mentioned, but
Oh,
that
don't
happened at
get
some
me
point.
started. You're gonna get me in trouble. I'm already in trouble. You're gonna keep getting me in trouble here. You're gonna keep
Yeah,
getting me in
so-
trouble here. There used to be a lot more, let's say, paying jobs that the church did, including working at farms and canneries. Like they weren't just volunteer, and they went from the bottom all the way to the top. And in the last 40 years, all of the bottom echelons got cut out and were turned into, you guessed it, lay ministry. So it was all turned into well, we want the if you're gonna do these canning things, it's all gonna be volunteer. If you're gonna do this custodial stuff, it's all gonna be volunteer. While the middle echelons to the upper echelons, the stipends increased. And it was around that same time that the stipend numbers of $200,000 and stuff got leaked, so that we kind of found out that, like, oh, they're getting $200K a year. Okay. Didn't know that. But anyway, so I why did that happen? Well, the argument or the belief or the why that they're putting forward is we should be serving more, and we are a lay ministry, and we don't get paid for what we do, which is true. If you're talking about stake presidents, bishops, or stake presidents for the most part, bishops, elders quorum presidents, and all of the local people from that point on, missionaries, they're doing it all for free. Everybody that Topher just talked about showing up for that busy bee, not one of them got paid a dime. Not like zero money. You showed up, you volunteered. But anyway, priests, but that middle echelons and up now. Now the priest crafters, seminary teachers, institute teachers, and so forth. Like the upper echelons still gets paid, and they get paid well, very well.
Yeah, and I'm not against like the opportunity to serve. Like I think it's good, but it is weird. Like, and especially when we say we're a lay ministry, and that's something we always tout as missionaries when we're teaching people about the church. Is that I remember always saying that.
Yep.
Because if I'm honest, when I was a missionary, I didn't know that anyone in the church. I assumed the prophet got nothing. Like I assumed all the way up they got nothing because we always said that. Yeah, so that was a learning point as well for me. And I'm not. I don't know. I'm not angry about it or anything. But we've always said that we're a lay ministry all the way up to whatever. And maybe that was just me being wrong. But yeah. Anyway, but I'm not against the opportunity to serve. I think the serving's nice, and I don't mind that. But it is interesting the way they've changed things. But to the original point here. It is true. Things are gross, man, sometimes. And it's like, a baby spews on the carpet, and I just see people kick it in the carpet with their foot and just rub it in and like move on. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like,
My biggest pet peeve with the cleaning has been and continues to be the young men with the sacrament. Like it just kills me because I grew up in an old ward, and I must have been germophobic because like we were like, it was a big deal in my ward. Like there would be 2 or 3 old men that would be like, whoa, they'd come and talk to you afterwards. Like when you took the cloth off of the bread to break it, you took the cloth off, and then we had disinfectant hand wipes that we had to open, take out of the pack, and wipe our hands like this openly for the whole congregation to see that we were doing it clean. Then we would break it, and we weren't allowed to like touch our like. Oh, my nose itches. Well, you got to get a new disinfectant wipe now. Like it was a big deal. It was a big deal not just because of germs, but like the idea of clean hands, pure heart to do this ordinance, and it was like this is us cleaning our hands before the congregation. And it's funny because I every unit I've gone to, I've tried to get people to do to implement this, and it was so funny because it was like no one would listen. No one would listen. I would put like hand sanitizer up there and be like, "Hey, just do some hand sanitizer in front of everyone." And then because we're literally watching you pick your nose, like I'm watching you pick your literal nose, and now you're breaking bread. Like this is disgusting. And everyone's like, yeah, whatever, no big deal. And then COVID happened, and then half the church all of a sudden was like, you know, wear a diaper and stand 5 feet from me. And it was like, where was this energy? Like 3 weeks ago, I was just like, hey, can we just not pick our nose and use hand sanitizer? You know, like where was that energy back then? And now we're back to normal. Now we're back to a regular scheduled program with young men and old men just like sitting up on the stand, just oh, we break the bread, and I'm like, oh gosh, every week. But
And because and I would assume this is the same everywhere, our external, like so grass, trees, and the garden, that's all taken care of by someone. There is a company that comes by and
Physical
mows the lawn.
facilities.
Yeah. So I'm like, and that's probably what, like once a month or something they do that. Like how often are they doing that? And I know the physical facilities dude who does stuff. Cool guy. And you know, that's his job, right? So but he looks after a whole bunch of chapels or a whole stake or however it works. But I'm like, why can't they have a cleaner? Like it's a good point. Like, why can't we have a cleaning company once a month, once a quarter? Sure, let us clean it weekly. Let us handle day-to-day stuff when we have activities. There's always a mess. We can clean that up, but they should still have it like professionally done, I reckon, on a certain schedule. The church has $1 bajillion.
or they need to just, or they need to do that, or they just need to get rid of stipends for everyone. They need to like purge house. Everyone needs to serve. Give 100%. Those are the options that are principled. But
Yeah. So anyway, I actually love this rant. I'm all for it. But yeah.
I got so many cleaning stories. Like I've spent my whole life cleaning chapels. One guy we had used to steal the vacuum cleaners, and they were like $3,000 vacuum cleaners, so he kept stealing them, and then we knew who it was, so we put a lock in it, and then he got someone's key and opened it up and stole it again, and we knew it was him because he got the key. Like it's so many things, man. We used to be in a shared building with a Polynesian ward, and they went after us, and so we'd go to sacrament in the morning, and the whole chapel was filthy. So before we started our meetings, the few of us that were already there, we'd have to go around and clean the entire chapel as much as we could. Try and clean the chapel, try and clean some of the rooms, and it was beyond filthy. I don't know what they would eat, but whatever it would be mushed into all the carpets. The kids would graffiti on all the hymn books and the backs of the pews. There was literally junk everywhere in every room. And I remember always, like, we'd have people go to their bishop and be like, "Excuse me, please, kind sir. Do your ward ever clean? Do you have a roster?" Oh, yeah, we do. All right, could you please clean this week? Yeah, yeah, we will. Yeah, that's fine, we will. And then they wouldn't. And then the next week we go, "Oh, hey, can you clean?" And we do that every week until we got to the point where it's like, who's gonna do the cleaning? Can we please speak to the man slash woman who's gonna do the cleaning? Because if you don't, we have to clean for our own meetings and after the meetings, and and in between whoever's using it during the week, and anyway, it goes on and on and on. But I've
Lack
got
of
a ton
respect.
more stories, but
Crazy.
yeah. Anyway,
Wait,
the
let me-
whole thing
let-
with the
Oh, sorry. I had another little story. This one burnt me real bad. You know how we had Elder Stevenson come over? He came in the most freshly renovated chapel in WA, right? So the Dianella Chapel, it's the chapel at the temple. This is where he came to. Beautiful. Really nice lighting, flowers, brand new pews, brand new podium and seating. All of this brand new, matching everything, beautiful, like a really nice. And I sit down, and at one point I'm holding my chair, and I put my hand in gum under the chair,
Oh,
and I'm like,
who would do
I'm like,
that?
I'm like, this chapel's been renovated like 3 weeks ago, finished. I'm like, if I could find out who did that, if I could find out who did that, I would.
They'd
You
be
have no
eating
idea
this gum.
oh, dude, yeah.
From the wrong direction. Hey, you know
Um,
what's funny? That chapel, that particular chapel in question, apparently I've heard that a member in that ward pays for professional cleaners for that ward out of their own pocket,
Wow.
just as an
Wow.
FYI.
Oh wow.
So on top of the fact that just got renovated, professional cleaners also get paid to go through there and clean that chapel. And somebody's gone and
Wow.
jammed gum under the chair.
Yeah.
Within weeks.
Imagine
just
having
burned me,
so much money that you're just like, look,
I'll pay
I,
for it.
I don't want to
cover
I
it.
don't want to feel guilty about not showing up and cleaning, and I'm not gonna. So like, here, I'm gonna pay someone to clean it, and now I wash my hands of this whole thing. I'm never showing up and touching that green
Yeah.
dye food coloring.
Yeah, drop a blue dye on a kid's spew in the bathroom to keep it clean.
There's pee everywhere. There's just pee everywhere. It's just like,
Yeah, just spray. We're good.
I'm not.
Little drop-
That's as
little
far as
drop
I
of
get
blue.
involved. That's as far as I get involved here. All right, I'm out.
Oh,
Walk off.
no.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so. Yeah. Anyway, it's hilarious, and I'm sure I'm gonna get in trouble in this. Amatova will be fine. I'm gonna get nailed for this one. Yeah, that's.
This was a great
was really
little
good.
rant, though. Really good. Yeah. So
That made me laugh, man.
relatable. So relatable.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Captain Chapel Cleaner Boy for life, it really touched me.
Right down in the dirty keckles of my heart.
Yeah.
Unclean kept parts of my heart. And these little food coloring.
Baby's got a
Have you got a question? Well, here's a place to get it answered. It's the question of the week.
Baby's got a
Baby's got a
question.
question.
You know it. We only get the baby questions. All right. Well, I might have to actually close this once I read this so I can get into this. But the question of the week is, this often comes up in studying and when I break down things like Jeremiah or when Jessica does her stuff or when you read the stuff. This idea that can someone help me? Nicole asked this. Can someone help me find where churches refers to different units within Christ Church and not different religions of men? Because when we're reading the Book of Mormon, when we're reading even Paul in the New Testament, when we're reading these things, we go, and there should be many churches which are built up, which, there are many churches, many churches, many churches. Our brain, in a lot of cases, will immediately start thinking, oh, well, that's talking about the Baptists and the Catholics and the Presbyterians, and that's what it's actually referring to. And that's not the context in which this is ever written. Like, you read the rest of the Book of Mormon, and that's not ever how the context of this is written when they talk about churches. And churches that are built up and so forth. So the question is, like, where are we getting this from? And, this is a great question. And I thought, you know what? Like, we can answer some of this. So,
I bet you that's how everyone thinks of it too. Like, everyone in the church would think of it that way. That's my default
yeah,
way to
yep.
think of it.
So, here's some things. First Corinthians chapter 1, unto the church of God, which is at Corinth, to them that are sanctified in Christ Jesus, called to be saints, with all that in every place call upon the name of Jesus Christ our Lord, both there and ours. So under the church of God, which is in Corinth, okay? But it's still part of the church of the whole, okay? And so you go to Ephesians 4, people are familiar with this one. There's one body, one spirit, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and is in all. And he gave some apostles, some prophets, some evangelists, and some pastors and teachers for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ, till we all come in the unity of the faith and the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, under the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. Right? So we all know that one, right? Okay, well, let's get into some of these other ones. Doctrine and Covenants 1. So it's pretty early in our early revelation, right? And also to those whom these commandments were given might have power to lay the foundation of this church and to bring it forth out of obscurity and out of darkness, the only true and living church upon the face of the whole earth, with which I, the Lord, am well pleased, speaking unto the church collectively and not individually. Meaning what? Even the Lord saying churches, I'm not talking about. And so the churches in this context is what? The church individually. But I'm talking about the church collectively, right? That's the two big differences here. 2 Nephi 26, under the Gentiles lift up in the pride of their hearts, have stumbled because of the greatness of their stumbling blocks, that they have built up many churches, right? Okay, that's obviously not talking about what we think it is, because Nephi, a couple verses later, basically, or a couple verses before, let's say, a couple chapters before, says, behold, they're saved 2 churches only. So that's obviously not what we're talking about here, right? But anyway, so if we get down here, there's actually one other scripture that I really wanted to. It was actually a. Oh, where is it? Man, I'll have to. Did you want to have any other thing you want to say about this before I'm scrolling down here? There's another one that was really good from Elder Bruce Conky, where he actually just lays it out. So, here's another Doctrine and Student Manual one on this. Doctrine and Student Manual 101, I must gather together my people. It says, and giving the parable of the nobleman and the olive tree, the Lord explained his will concerning all the churches, meaning all the congregations of Latter-day Saints. And that's in Doctrine and Covenants 101, verse 63. So when the Lord's talking about all the churches, he's meaning all of the congregations of Latter-day Saints. That's taken right from the LDS Student Manual there. So like there's
Another one, Micah, while you're thinking about it, it's the entire concept that the Book of Mormon, for example, is written for the members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for our day in particular. And so when the prophets are trying to refer to what we need to do, they're not trying to get us to go out and compare ourselves with false churches. They're not trying to be like, all right, now let me tell you about all the false churches out there. They're like, guys, there's 2 churches. It's the correct church of Jesus Christ, and it's everything. And I want you to know within your churches, the churches of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that you've got, that many of them are going to be built up, and they're going to be prideful, and they're going to have priestcraft, and there's going to be idolatry, and there's going to be sin. And this entire book, all these revelations, are designed for you within your churches to recognize these things, not partake of them. Avoid them. Yeah. Avoid sin. Repent. The churches of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you need to be pure and holy. A stake here and a stake there. Strengthen the stakes of Zion so that at some point we can come back to the center place of Zion. We'll be worthy enough to have the center place of Zion. And that's effectively what the whole book is about, right? So,
yeah, there's two more.
It's not there to judge the wicked. It's there to judge people who are trying to be followers of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, not out there. Okay, there's 2 more here that I found here. These are the 2 that I really wanted to do. So 2 Thessalonians, this is Paul, and Paul says, Paul, writing to Paul, a servant of God the Father and of our Lord Jesus Christ, writing unto the church of Thessalonians. And then he says, we are bound to thank God always for you, brethren, and meet because of faith. We're so grateful for you. So that we ourselves glory in you in the churches of God for your patience. And Elder Bruce Conky, commenting on this in his New Testament commentary, says the congregations of, what does it mean, the churches of God here? He says the congregations of God's people comprising the then church of Jesus Christ. So once again, we have that same idea. And then this is one I really wanted, the one right from the Book of Mormon. So Mosiah 25, so if we want to understand how they in the Book of Mormon were using church and churches, it came to pass the king Mosiah granted unto Alma that he might establish churches throughout all the land of Zarahemla and give him power to ordain priests and teachers over every church. Now, this was done because there were so many people that they could not be governed by one teacher, neither could they all hear God's word in one assembly. Therefore, they did assemble themselves together in different bodies, being called churches. Every church having their priest and their teachers, and every priest preaching the word of God according as it was delivered to him by the mouth of Alma. And thus, notwithstanding there being many churches, they were all one church, yea, even the church of God. For there was nothing preached in all the churches except it were repentance and faith in God. And now there were 7 churches in the land of Zarahemla. And it came to pass that whosoever were desire to take upon the name of Christ or of God, they did join the churches of God. And anyway, there's a whole big thread here that's really good, but it's like it's so abundantly clear that like this is the context of what they were using here with churches versus church. So we're talking like our modern, the way we would say things is we would say many wards, many branches, many stakes, but there's one church. But back then they just went churches, church.
Yeah. To be honest, man, there is almost zero benefit in thinking that it relates to churches outside of our own. Because I would go over those verses and be like, oh, it's talking about mega churches and Catholics and stuff. Cool. I don't care about that. Anyway, I'll keep reading. But when you go, oh, it's our church, we need to be careful of priestcraft. We need to be careful of idolatry. I need to be careful of what I'm building up in my own life and within the church and that type of thing. Oh, I need to be worried about this. All of a sudden, the book comes to life. The revelations mean something to me. I need to worry about me. I don't need to be going, that's not me. That's the dumbest thing that you could do. You should be pointing
expect
yourself
it in their churches. Yeah.
You should be pointing to yourself and going, could this be me? Is it I, Lord? Am I the priestcrafter? Am I the idolatrous one? What parts of idolatry are there in my life that I could remove? Or, you know, where am I building up these things within my church, my church, my ward, my situation?
Yeah.
I think we're too readily wanting to dismiss it to others.
Yeah, and it's also good because it warns us against the false concept that, and I would lean this way automatically, that our church and our churches are going to be perfect. You know, like that we don't suffer from any of this. You know, like that we're like we don't entertain priestcraft, that we don't entertain idolatry. This is warning us that we do and will.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like my default thing was, no, the church is like, our church is true, right? Our church is good. Like, it's not going to have any of this stuff in it. But like, yeah, you know, be ready and be wary of it. It's creeping in. It's crept in. You know,
the church collectively versus the church individually. Yeah, it's yeah. Yeah, many churches will be built up that shall say, all is well in Zion, yea, Zion prospers. Well, that can't be us, but
which is funny because don't you hear that all the time?
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Only in our congregations. Yes, never out there. Like you don't ever walk into a Baptist congregation and they're like, all is well in Zion, yea, Zion prospers. Ever. It never happens.
And they'd be like, what is Zion? What are you talking about?
People will say, the Lord delayeth his coming to the ends of the earth. Like, Jesus is not coming for 100 years.
Another one who healed.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
So good question and good answer.
Yeah, great both ways. Well done. Baby's got a question.
Baby's got a question.
Hopefully that was a sufficient answer in the time that we had.
No, I think that was good, yeah.
Very good. Very good.
All right, everyone's favorite time.
Definitely my favorite.
Channel Free Brothers for this week's headlines.
Chris Tower.
Get your week's headlines. Channel Free.
Yeah. With your anchors. Channel 3 Brothers.
Oh my gosh. It's making me do this every time for some reason for
Now,
Zoom.
can Ammon read this or not? Like to keep him awake, or
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I'll read it if you can't. It's fine.
I can see it. You guys do the commentary. All right. This week's headlines. Number one, newly elected Australian right-wing MP breaks down in first speech, letting everyone know they voted for the wrong guy. I'm gay and I love immigrants. Ask my boyfriend. Now I know why you wanted me to read this. Leave supporters checking whether they downloaded the wrong candidate pamphlet. And again, in his little speech bubble, I'm gay and I love immigrants. Ask my boyfriend. I didn't see this, so
Was this?
It was-
I don't know what kind of media you're watching, but
It was
yeah,
hilarious.
you probably
It was hilarious. Like it was in the clip they had was a lot more vulgar. It was a little bit more specific on what he loved about men. But yeah, pretty hilarious. And yeah, he won and got up there, and that was the first thing he said. And dude, the freaking audience looked hilarious. It was just like,
Well, it's kind of annoying. And again, I didn't see this. I've heard it mentioned, but was it the One Nation Party? Does that sound familiar? Was that the party? I don't know. Yeah. So
well, it says
Now-
right wing here, so it must be.
it was,
something like that.
yeah.
yeah. But you could say the Liberal Party's right wing. You could say, I don't know. You could say a bunch of them are, but most of them lean left for sure. But I do think it was the One Nation Party, which is crazy because their whole thing is like immigration control and conservative values and everything. And so this guy somehow snuck in almost into this party, made his way into the top of it, and then absolutely flipped the script once he's been elected or whatever's happened here, which is mind-blowing. So if I watched politics, if I was more involved in it, this would be it's a frustrating thing to hear, and I'd be very annoyed if I had voted this guy and he flipped the script on me after I'd voted. That's crazy.
Look, listen,
you-
God,
He can be gay and love immigrants. He can be gay and love immigrants. Just don't be the guy in the One Nation Party to doing that.
lying. But listen, God's
Yeah.
gonna hold you accountable if you don't judge, or if you don't vote people. Like God, if you don't use your vote, God's gonna hold you accountable. Because you're gonna vote for this guy. He's gonna be like, I want family values. And then he's gonna come in and be like, I like dudes. I like dudes.
And the opposite of the party's main platform, which is like curbing immigration. So
Yep.
it's literally hi guys, thanks for voting me in. By the way, I'm against everything that you voted for. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
And everything the
what?
party stood for. So
Yeah.
that's fun.
It's just
They're gonna have a hard time with the younger generation getting any of us to vote at this rate. Like seriously, and they wonder why it's easier to get people to like get dressed up in Antifa and like burn cities down. It's like, that sounds like a better time than this. Like campaigning, getting on the street, knocking doors, and be like, look, this guy's gonna turn around the country. You vote for him, you win. And he's like, yeah, I'm gay and I love immigrants. And it's like, what I just do? You know what? Let's just get dressed up in black and let's go. Like you're going to get more and more and more radicalized youth because if you don't have a proper outlet that can do anything, then what else you got?
you don't even have a political stance, like a political party to align with now. Then
Nope.
it's like, and this just feeds into everything. Like I feel like I'm lied to and betrayed everywhere, at every turn. I don't feel like anything's true. I don't feel like
Yep.
I've got anything anymore. Like I can't rely on anything or anyone for anything. We're out here alone now.
Yep.
Ugh. Anyway,
Yep.
Amen to that.
yeah.
Next one down. Number 2,
Yep.
woman fired over Charlie Kirk post gets a $225,000 settlement. HR departments nationwide suddenly pretending they've always loved free speech. No, we've always said that you can say anything you want about Charlie Kirk or conspiracy theories or people that you like that the Liberals hate. We've always said that you can bake whatever cake that you want. We've always said that.
She worked at a university.
Right.
She worked at a university.
Yep.
And so when Charlie died, she made this big post about basically how Charlie was this awful person and he got what he deserved. and basically she was one of those awful posts that everyone read afterwards, and the university was like, yeah, dude, we gotta let you go. Like, you can't just be like, yeah, I feel assassination's justified. And somebody picked it up, lawyers picked it up, didn't even contact her, and sued on her behalf, won, and then just gave her the money. So she didn't even pursue this. Like, it was it was kind of like a Rosa Parks situation, right? Where, there was a little bit of maybe some tiny hats, let's say, that
Opportunity.
saw the opportunity, came in and sued on her behalf. And like, this lady, I told Ashley to like try to use the picture of this lady, but AI was like, I'm not going to do it because apparently it was too offensive. But like, for those who have watched Goonies, okay,
Oh yeah.
okay, there's a main bad female villain, okay. People are
Mhm.
familiar with her. She's kind of, you could say, masculine looking.
The
Um,
Fratelli. Yep.
yeah, okay. And then there's the hey, you guys. Okay, if you told AI to combine those two individuals into one individual, that's what this individual looks like. So
Nice.
like now that I've said that, if you see a picture of this lady, you will bust up laughing and be like, "Holy crap, that is so accurate. That is literally what she looks like. A combination of these two people." But yeah, so that's actually what she looked like, and she was like, "Yeah, Charlie Kirk took it in the neck and he deserved it." And that's completely okay. That is allowed on college campuses, but any antiseptic stuff or anything, anti-APAC or whatever, like, that's not covered in free speech. But
Mhm. In
murking,
fact, they've just made a law
Oh
in
yeah.
Australia against being antiseptic. Um, so they're not just not making it even, they're going the opposite direction, and they're prosecuting for that sort of stuff really, really hard.
you saw the
Oh
picture,
man.
Topher.
Yeah, you know it. I just Googled it. She looks like Mama Fratelli, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, give her like the beret and that you've got it.
Ugh.
All we sell here is tongue.
His tongue
Do you like tongue?
or waters.
Yep, that's her.
Wow. So, you know what's crazy? I thought this was good news when I read this. It sounds like a great thing. Like, oh, but I didn't realize she had posted something like bad. I was hoping she had posted something good and then been wrongly like terminated for like supporting Charlie Kirk. Turns out she was
Yeah.
the opposite end. But it's a weird one, this one, because I am free speech is important, right? So I do think you should be able to say what you want, but it needs to work both ways. And
Correct.
so yeah, so I guess, whatever. She was fired for saying something wrong. But I want to say that in the flip as well. When people say like they support Charlie Kirk and they get demonized by everyone for having supported Charlie Kirk, I want and if anything happens to them for that, I want the same treatment. So hey, free speech is important. I unfortunately this lady had said something terrible, um, and gotten
What's
justice out of
worse?
it, which
What's worse than saying you're okay with somebody getting murked? What's worse than that on the
that
right?
yeah, I
Like, what's
can't
the worst thing?
believe.
I support Nazis. Is that worse? Is that really worse than saying I support somebody getting assassinated?
I don't think there's anything worse. Yeah,
But like, I'll
and
tell you
they
what,
say it
if you came
so
out and said
casually too.
they say it so casually, and if you came out and said like, oh, like, I'm a Nazi, or oh, if you said something like that, like, your life would be ruined. And I don't think anyone's
Yeah,
giving you
yeah,
$225,000.
yeah. Yeah, well, Nazism or like anti-Semitism is one of those things, or like
Septic.
Holocaust denial, anti-Septicism is one of those things that like is it seems to be outside of the rule set. It breaks
Yes.
all the rules. It doesn't count in any like that. That's instantly not acceptable, no matter what. Like you can't go
Yep.
there somehow beyond rules. Yeah. So anyway, but again, I want the same treatment for everyone. So this
Correct.
is a good and bad story. This is like you know, I like the free speech aspect of it. That there was recompense for it. Unfortunately, she's an idiot. But
It's true.
yeah, Ammon,
let's move
by
on
the way,
now.
your camera's off. Your camera's off, Ammon. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, sorry. My phone was running out of battery, so I plugged it in. All right. Australian police banned from wearing Australian flag on police uniforms. Officials warn visible patriotism could make criminals feel excluded.
Yeah.
That's
So yeah,
just horrible.
I saw this, and they're allowed to have trans and gay and any other like flag that you could associate with, but not our own country's flag on. Too patriotic, too offensive, apparently, to anyone who apparently finds the country they live in offensive. Like, so, man, it's getting wild out here, dude. Like,
I'm not.
and this
I'm
goes
not.
back into.
I'm not an Australian. I don't live there. But if I live there, like, what the heck is wrong with an
I know.
Australian flag? Like, I just don't understand
Yeah.
the mindset here. I want to see a Japanese flag when I go to Japan. Like, I want, why is that a problem? That's why I'm there. That's why I'm there. Like I'm in Australia, and it's like, where's the Australian flags? Like, I mean, like, why else am I here?
Mm.
It
And
kills me.
the Australian flag and the Australian culture has always stood for like multiculturalism. That's kind of like a given because that's what we are. Like Australia is this melting, boiling pot of like different cultures. That's what we are. So how can it be offensive? You know, and it's a long story, a long saga. But we have Australia Day, right? And how do you politically correctly say this? Over the past few years, all the leftists, all the hardcore, like, you know, ultra liberal, whatever people have been basically saying having an Australia Day is offensive to like the indigenous, to whatever, because they were here first and whatever. It's all offensive. Everything's offensive. Everything offends everyone now, except the people who like I think if you actually ask any rational person, they're not offended. But the loudest people who are willing to rage about this say it's offensive on behalf of everyone who's not offended, if that makes sense. So anyway, this just leans more into this. Like you're allowed to be anything except what's good and proper. You're allowed to be anything you want. Label yourself as any stupid thing. Just don't be a policeman. Don't be law enforcement. Don't be government. Don't be
Straight,
your
apparently.
patriot. Yeah, you can't be straight. You can be any other thing. Just don't be a straight white man. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
okay.
it's funny. I've talked about for years about how we're always talking about stuff to fight against, but we don't have anything to fight for. And I just realized how much it applies to this, where it's like, I get it. Okay, someone gets offended, but it's like what we've lost in worrying about the literally the 1 to 5% of the population that are always offended is we've lost the ability to be united anymore. Like what unites Australians together? What brings you together that we can say, hey, we have differences, but we're both this. When we can't celebrate anymore
Yeah, 'cause
what
the gay
brings
flag
us
can't do
together. That's not doing it. So like is there nothing anymore that can bring us together, that we can agree on families, like Australia, like if there's no big umbrellas anymore that we can come together and be like, hey, let's just light some fireworks off and let's eat some licorice and say Happy New Year. Is there nothing anymore like that? And it's like, no, they're removing all of the things to fight for, you know, and that unite us, and they're just constantly bombarding
Yeah.
us with things that divide us and things for us to
Dividing,
fight against.
yes. Yeah. Keep us divided. Can't unite. Can't get together around any one thing, and then more easy to control.
Very good. Number
Yeah.
4.
Man, I
Scottish
could go
boy
some
shows
licorice
William-
right now. Sorry. Go on.
Yep.
Oh
Scottish
yeah.
boy shows William Wallace colours when he refuses to bow to Allah on church field trip. Teachers reportedly shocked students still capable of independent thought. They may take our field trip, but they'll never take our freedom.
That
It was,
good.
by the way, it was
That was a good
a
accent.
it was really good. That was this was a boy, I think a Boy Scout event too, by the way. So this was a Boy Scout event in Scotland.
I saw a photo of it. And so this is happening more and more, and it's happening a lot in England, it seems. So it seems like it's the UK, like, so, you know, Great Britain, United Kingdom area, that they're doing this a lot in for whatever reason. But it seems like they're taking these young school kids majority white school kids and taking them to these mosques and making them like learn about it or whatever. They've got them bowing down and doing their prayer stuff and all that. And I'm like, I mean, I love this kid, man. Like, because that what are you to do when your teacher tells you to do something? What do? You have to do it. But I love that this kid was bold enough to not, because like I would actually be very annoyed if my kid was taken and forced to do that. I don't care. I don't care if it's nice.
Highly annoyed.
Yeah, I don't care if it's nice to like pretend like, we learn about other religions. Cool, learn about them if you want. Cool. I'm not bowing down and doing their prayers and stuff with them. That's crazy. So anyway, I love this kid. William Wallace it up. Because
You can have respect for other people. You can have respect for what other people do, how they believe, how they worship, and all that sort of stuff. Like Joseph Smith was the biggest proponent of let everybody worship how, where, and what they may. You know, as long as it's peaceful and that type of thing, it's fine.
This gets to
But-
the enforcement of, though. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. It does, and the encouragement of acceptance of people's beliefs and lifestyle personally,
And losing
which is
your own one's not good. This one's better.
which is the same as almost every agenda. It's like people will start with, no, we don't want to force this on you guys. We just want you to accept who we are. And you go, oh, okay, well, that seems pretty reasonable. Cool. All right. Well, we accept who you are. No. That's not really what we wanted. We want you to tell us that we're better than you are. And we want better rights. And we want, you know what I mean? Like we
Well,
want-
when we say accept, what we mean
Yeah.
is that you have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
bow when we pray, and you have to
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
It never stops.
bake
It never
cakes
stops.
for us.
It's the same
Exactly
thing that
right.
happened
If we demand it,
with.
you must do it.
It's the same thing that happened with other ideologies, which let's like, just use the gay stuff, right? It's the same thing that happened with that. It starts like just accept us, just
Well,
accept
we
us.
were
All
we
right,
were
cool,
saying
we
it
accept
without
you.
saying it, but you can say it if you want to.
We said
I'll
bake
say it.
cakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's there you go. So it's the same thing, man. So it always starts with something small, then it's another step, then it's another step, and yes, okay, yes, and then all of a sudden it's just beyond it, out of control. Yeah.
Neil A.
Also-
Maxwell had the best.
Also,
things
I
to say
can't
on
use
the
my
subject.
favorite word, gay,
Yeah.
and my second
what's
favorite
cool?
word, which I can't even say online.
Do you know what's cool though? It's making a comeback where you can say it now. I don't know, like because all the comedians are using it again, so it's like become like okay to say, which I'm kind of enjoying. But anyway,
Neil A. Maxwell.
Neil A.
has a-
Maxwell- Yeah. He absolutely kills this whole concept about constant capitulation. If you
Yeah.
don't draw the line somewhere, you'll find that you're in a never-ending battle where you constantly capitulate ground and then you lose everything. Now, the way that he puts it though, and the way he explains it is
Yeah.
absolute perfection. He talks about moral relativism. Anyway, if anyone's interested in this particular subject and the importance of actually standing your ground on principle, Neil A. Maxwell laid down the law on this. It was really good.
What one
Yeah, right.
generation tolerates, the following generation celebrates.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Yep. Amen.
Is the big one from that. Yeah, it's really good. By the way, there was 2 stories coming out of Scotland similar to this. One boy, one girl. I'm telling you, give me some kind of animated series. There's still some broad in Scotland that still has it. I mean, like they're still there. They're still fighting, but they had that girl with literally the hatchet and the knife, and she was like, come on, hurt me. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's still there. They still got it. But yeah, so now you got this boy who's just like, yeah, nah, I ain't gonna kneel down for that. Now they got that girl. They have to. They have to somehow get together and make some William Wallace babies and free their people again.
Yep. All right, next one. Another shooting at the White House. Oh, gee. Can we get that ballroom done already? Reporters now chanting, build the ballroom before every press briefing just to save time. Isn't it so interesting?
I don't really. I saw that there was another shooting there. I don't really understand the ballroom bit though. Like,
Well, the ballroom thing, there was several, I'll tell you some backstory that I knew about this. There were several court cases ongoing about the Don building the ballroom. because
Mm.
apparently there were laws with the White House where you couldn't actually modify the White House without like a national security threat. Something similar to
Oh.
that. There needed to be some kind of significant reason, national security threat or otherwise, in order to allow a president to make any amendments, modifications, or build onto the White House. And so there were several court cases ongoing, and then all of a sudden, there was that initial shooting that happened at the dinner. Was it the State of the Union
Mm.
dinner? I can't remember what it was called. Anyway, there
Mm.
was that dinner that they held, and where Charlie Kirk's wife was there. I don't even remember her name. She was there, and then immediately the first thing that came out of that was, oh, we've got to build the ballroom, because that was very unsafe because we couldn't, properly arrange the security and have it in our own facility and da da da, which means we must build the ballroom. And then all of a sudden, they got out of all their court cases. This is what I understood. They got out of all the court
Mhm.
cases, all the red tape is cut, and bang, they're going ahead with this ballroom. And then all of a sudden, just very conveniently, all these shots fired near the White House. No one gets shot, everyone's safe, da 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 da. First thing that comes out of people's lips, build the ballroom, build the $300 million
Okay.
gold gilded vanity ballroom for Captain Fancy Pants.
Never let a good tragedy go to waste.
It's
Never
true.
let it go to waste.
Gotta crack them eggs to get the omelet. And this was one of those hilarious bits where it was like that. I know everyone hates him, but Nick Fuentes went over where it was like, we used it on the right. It was so funny where it was like they showed the clips from all the news things where it was like, this is a threat to our democracy, and this is a threat to our democracy, and it was like, and it just starts playing, and everyone was saying the same thing, and we were like, ha, see, the left are all propagandists, blah blah blah, and it's like we're doing it now on the right, and it was so crazy because it was like as soon as the first shooting happened, it was like all the big time right influencers all of a sudden came out and were like, yeah, and this is why we need to build the ballroom. And it's like nobody was thinking that, let alone every single one of you right-wing influencers. Like every single one of you are now saying exactly the same thing. It's not that intelligent of a take. It's not even that, it's not something you want to be on record with. It's not even like the first reactionary take. Like that is a propaganda thing, and you're all saying exactly the same thing. And now, by the way, now it's actually happening with the APAC thing with Massey, which is hilarious. But like, it's so funny to see it now happening. But like this, the funniest part about this to me is the fact that it's just like this is just like build a ballroom, and it's like, where did this come from? Why are we all now repeating this? And it was like it came from one spot. So like you can't get mad at the left for this propaganda, top down, make everyone repeat it until the masses go this good when we're doing it too. And now and it's crazy how well it works. When Massey lost his seat, APAC came out the very same day and took credit for it. APAC came out, made tweets, took credit for the victory, said, yeah, this is what happens. You screw with us. It's good policy to stick with it. Took credit for it. And then apparently 24 hours later, they started reading the polls. They started reading like, man, people are like not happy about you doing this. And then all of a sudden, another letter went out. And all of a sudden, every single right winger is coming up with the exact same take, which is money doesn't buy Senate seats. No, it
Yeah.
doesn't. It has nothing to do with that. Like, if you think that somebody could pay money and money is what influenced that election with Massey, well, then you're just misinformed. And every single one of these right wingers are like, it's like on repeat saying exactly the same thing. It's not that intelligent a take. It's really dumb. It's really dumb. And APAC themselves already took credit for it.
And meanwhile, every single one of those talking heads on the right were the first ones to say, no, it was all the money that Joe Biden got because they raised ridiculous sums of money to help run his campaign that helped get him in, and him and his term and all that sort of garbage. So it's fine to explain that and use that kind of logic when it works for you, but as soon as it doesn't work for you, it has to be the opposite. It's got to sing by a different tune. No, it doesn't work. It's just crazy. Like we're all like you're saying earlier, Toph, like you can't trust anyone. You can't trust anyone when it comes to politics and all that sort of stuff, because we're literally all being played like little fiddles. And
Mhm.
the way that people turn and the biggest hypocrites with everything is completely mind-blowing. I didn't think this administration would be such a massive pile of hypocrites, but it's gone beyond my wildest possible understanding, possible speculation.
And I'd be okay
And
with
I
it
am
if they were
conservative.
doing something. Yeah, exactly. And I would, to some degree, be like, well, they're hypocrites. Well, this is ridiculous, but at least they built the wall. Well, at least they deported 4 million people. At least they did this. But like, there's not even that list. Well, at least I got my war in Iran. At least I got my high gas prices. Wait a second. At least oh wait, I didn't even get my tariffs. Oh wait, like it's like what happened? Yeah. But yeah, we'll go to war, boys. Like, well, here's the thing. One tweet from APAC doesn't mean anything. They took credit for it, but that doesn't mean that's actually true. Bro, you have me going to war with Muslims in the Middle East because one of them tweeted out that they took credit for some terrorist attack that took place on the other side of the planet. So, like,
Yeah.
with no other information, just the Muslim Brotherhood took credit for it on Twitter. So let's go to war. Yeah, like you're having me go into war over a tweet, and say that's good enough evidence. APAC spends the money, broadcasts it, says, "Hey, we won the election," and then they're just like, "That had nothing to do with it." Give me a break. Give me a break. And I'm sure all these people just all of a sudden decided the ballroom was the most important thing ever. Okay,
At the same time.
all at the same time.
Completely, like, I don't even know what the word is, but like unmotivated. Like nobody
Mhm.
gave them the talking point.
Build the wall, Epstein files. Like, you're not my follower if you talk about those things. Iran war, build the ballroom.
Money to the antiseptic team.
My team. Yeah, that it's the great switch.
Incredible.
But you know what you can trust?
Baited, switched everywhere.
You can trust the spiritual thought. You can. You can.
Come on, let's get spiritual.
Trust that.
Let's talk spiritual.
Trust that.
Let me get you spiritual. Spiritual. Break it down.
Break it down.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Break it down.
Break it down.
All right, who's gonna read this?
Who's going to break it down?
Who's gonna break it down this week? Not I, said me.
I can read it if you want me to.
All right, Topher.
All right.
Topher gonna break it down.
Spiritual thought for the week. Doctrine and Covenants 101, starting at verse 41. Behold, here is wisdom concerning the children of Zion. Even many, but not all, they were found transgressors. Therefore, they must needs be chastened. He that exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that abaseth himself shall be exalted. And now I will show unto you a parable that you may know my will concerning the redemption of Zion. A certain nobleman had a spot of land, very choice, and he said unto his servants, Go ye unto my vineyard, even upon this very choice piece of land, and plant 12 olive trees, and set watchmen round about them, and build a tower, that one may overlook the land round about, to be a watchman upon the tower, that mine olive trees may not be broken down, where the enemy shall come to spoil and take upon themselves the fruit of my vineyard. Now the servants of the nobleman went and did as their lord commanded them, and planted the olive trees, and built a hedge round about, and set watchmen, and began to build a tower. And while they were yet laying the foundation thereof, they began to say among themselves, And what need hath my lord of this tower? And consulted for a long time, saying among themselves, What need hath my lord of this tower, seeing this is a time of peace? Might not this money be given to the exchangers? For there is no need of these things. And while they were at variance one with another, they became very slothful, and they hearkened not unto the commandments of their lord. And the enemy came by night, and broke down the hedge, and the servants of the nobleman arose, and were affrighted, and fled. And the enemy destroyed their works, and broke down the olive trees. All right. So the commitment off the back of this, and hopefully everyone's heard us talk about this. If you followed us for years, you would have heard us mention this only about 4,000 million times. So the commitment for this, when planning your summer, now in America, I think you're heading into summer, we're heading into winter, but when you're planning your summer, put your money where your mouth claims your heart is. The tower. Good.
I came up with that little word salad myself.
It's nice. It's a good salad.
I like that.
Put your money where your mouth claims your heart is. I thought, man, I should turn that into a song too. But come here, Suno. So yeah, we have all these plans at the time of peace. Hey, well, it's summer. When you're making these plans, a lot of us are going to summer. I guess winter. When you're even in winter, maybe you're having some plans. I don't know. When you're planning, it's a little different. Your guys' winter doesn't really have snow. When you're planning, just put your money where your mouth is. Right? Put your money where your mouth is claiming your heart is, which is the tower. Put it to good use. That's my commitment. You know, that's our commitment. Get some food storage. Make some good plans. Make some plans in the right direction.
Don't
Very
follow
good.
in the boomers' footsteps and ask, what need have we of this tower? Ought
Yeah.
my money be better used elsewhere? Yeah.
Yep. And that's it. Thank you for breaking that down,
Come
Topher.
on and get spiritual.
All right. And with that,
Yeah,
who's
yeah.
closing us out?
Our sweet little
I can-
sleepy brother in the middle. Sleepy.
I can close it out before I fall asleep.
Oh, sleepy.
Old Sleepy, he's old faithful when it comes to being sleepy, that's for sure. So once again, thanks for brothers and sisters hanging out with us this evening, this morning. It's been a pleasure. It's been a privilege. For those of you who clicked on the link, we hope you've learned a thing or two. Brothers plus one. We are possibly your favorite. Brothers! Thanks for being with us. Thanks for hanging out. Check us out on Discord and or Facebook. Discord is better. We love you. We hope you have a great week. And we'll see you again real soon.